Beautiful bouquets. Order today, 1-800-Flowers.com. Enter the code HERD, H-E-R-D. Valentine's is tomorrow. Joy Taylor is joining me. Chris Bosch in 10 minutes, who made the All-Star game 11 straight times in 13 years. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. First ballot, second ballot, I don't know, but he's going to get there. He joined us in 10 minutes. Don't confuse. This is a good rule sometimes in parenting. I make this mistake sometimes. Don't confuse an opportunity for a problem. Sometimes as a parent, I get upset, I see something, and I want to lecture, and instead I think, no, this is an opportunity. This is a teaching moment. This is a teaching moment. People used to call my radio show when I take calls. What am I going to tell my kids? And I always said, I don't know, they're your kids. You had them. That's your responsibility. It's a teaching moment. People, whenever there was a controversy in sports, my kids are watching these games. What am I going to tell my kids? I don't know. I don't even know their names. They're your kids. Okay? It's a teaching moment. Don't confuse Antonio Brown wanting to be traded for a problem. It is an opportunity. This is a moment for an opportunity. First of all, Pittsburgh's standards are really high. The Cleveland Browns last year went 7-8-1, and they're throwing a parade. The Steelers went 9-6-1, and they're pissed because the standards are much higher. Players, after 5 or 6 years, you got a ton out of Antonio Brown. Now at 31, flip him for a pick. Opportunity. You bought low, 6th round, sell high. This is not a problem. Le'Veon Bell getting nothing for him, that I don't like. That stings. But Antonio Brown, think about it this way. Say it out loud. If I said to you, hey, there's this NFL team that found this player in the 6th round. They paid him nothing for like 3 years. Nothing. He ended up getting 11,000 yards and 74 touchdowns. They paid him nothing. And if I had to pay him a little, now he's 31. Wide receivers post 30 generally start to fade. And we were able to then flip him and get a really good pick. Oh, but what do you do at receiver? Oh, we already got one. We do the receiver thing really well. Juju Smith-Schuster. We do the receiver thing really well. Folks, here's what I know. Life, real estate, sports, Wall Street, buy low, sell high wins everywhere. You buy the property low, fix it up, sell it high. 6th round, 11,000 yards, 74 TDs, sold all sorts of jerseys, and now you're going to flip him at 31 because you got another receiver who you don't have to pay as much. That's a problem? That's an opportunity. All these wide receivers for the Steelers seem to leave. Mike Wallace left, Plaxico left, Emmanuel Sanders left, Santonio Holmes left, Martavius Bryant left. They all leave, and they all get replaced. When it comes to the Chicago Bears and linebackers, they do it right. When it comes to the Denver Broncos and running backs, they do it right. The Broncos have had 10 different running backs run for 1,000 yards. When it comes to the New England Patriots and offensive linemen, they just find them. David Andrews, an all-pro center, he didn't get drafted. Did you ever watch Shaq Mason in college? They take other people's bad offensive linemen, overrated guys, move them to left tackle, and they're great. And when it comes to the Steelers and wide receiver, they do that position really well. Like the Broncos do running back, and the Bears do linebacker, and the Patriots do offensive line. Maybe it's a coach. Maybe it's a scout. I don't know. But, Antonio Brown leaving is not a dilemma. It'd be a dilemma for Cleveland. It'd be a dilemma for Jacksonville. It's not a dilemma for Pittsburgh. It's an opportunity. It's an opportunity. You got a receiver. You got a quarterback. You got a good O-line. You got an emerging linebacking core. And you're going to flip him and get a really good pick, which you've proven you draft really, really well. Last year, once again, you appear to have had a really good draft. Don't confuse what you perceive as a massive roadblock to simply be parenting or football an opportunity. Bill Polian, by the way, in 50 minutes. Chris Bosch around the corner. Here's Joy Taylor with the news.
No. Turn on the news. This is the Herd Line News. All right, so last night, number 2 Duke pulled off an incredible win against number 16 Louisville. It was the biggest comeback of Coach K's career. They trailed by 23 points with 10 minutes basically to go in the second half and rallied to win 71-69.
Pros on that team.
Basically. Zion Williams led the Blue Devils with 27 points and 12 rebounds in the win. Cam Reddish scored 16 of his 22 points after halftime. So Duke won its 8th game in a row despite shooting a season-low 37% from the field. They are now 22-2 with their only losses to Gonzaga and Syracuse.
I got to tell you, Zion Williamson's fun to watch. I don't remember a college basketball player I had this much fun watching. There's been some good ones, but Zion Williamson, to me, is probably the most fun I've had watching college. I've watched Duke play 10 times. I think he's the most exciting college basketball player I have seen in a decade. I don't even remember the next guy that made me turn to a TV in college basketball. Patrick Ewing comes to mind. Seriously.
He's so dominating. I'm not saying he's LeBron. I'm just saying he reminds you of LeBron with his athleticism and his size. And just watch this play of him bringing it line to line. He just moves people. I think that's part of like what's so exciting about him. It's just
He's got a little Karl Malone, a little Blake Griffin, a little LeBron James. It's amazing to me. There was I heard somebody last week, I'm not going to name the person, out of his gorge said he's not really built for the NBA. Time out. First of all, his body is transformative. He's got a great first step. He has a beautiful touch around the rim. As long as he can shoot 75% free throws, he's a 25-point game eventually in the NBA.
I mean, he is a big guy.
Yes.
So there are concerns about your weight and lower extremities, knees, and whatnot when you are that size. And the league has gotten more about skill than athleticism and size, which, I mean, we talk about all the time.
Yeah.
You know, when you're talking about Russell Westbrook, and it matters, obviously, what your skill is, because eventually your athleticism is going to diminish. But he's going to be the number 1 or number 2 pick. And, I mean, I think the top 3 picks are on the team right now, Cam Reddish, RJ Barrett, and him.
Yeah, no, I think I mean, Duke's the best team in college basketball. I don't think it's terribly close. And the other thing with Duke is you notice now, Joy, they're playing well now because these guys all come in from AAU basketball and you jam them in. Calipari's dealt with this. Right. And it takes you until February until they know each other's first names. So whenever I'm always very careful to watch Kentucky, Duke, Kansas that have one-and-done players. I'm always really careful to watch. I don't watch them early. Start watching them about early February because this is what Duke is. I watched Duke play 2 months ago. They weren't nearly this good. No, they felt strong at the beginning of the season, though. I feel like they came out nobody really knows how to defend Zion. So everybody now has coaches look and say, okay, do this, do that. But I think Duke is Michigan and Duke are my picks to get to the national championship. And Michigan's a coaching story and Duke's a talent
There's
story.
A lot of good teams this year. The tournament's going to be fun. So Joe Flacco has been traded to the Broncos. The Ravens proved that they were going to be fully committed to Lamar Jackson in the future. So the Ravens have agreed in principle to trade Joe Flacco to the Broncos. And Schefter tweeted this morning that the new Broncos head coach, Vic Fangio, did spend a season in Baltimore with Joe Flacco as the Ravens quarterback. So he knows what he'll be getting. And former Broncos exec Gary Kubiak was also a Flacco fan. He mentioned how much he liked the soon-to-be Broncos quarterback. So those were strong selling points for them. Now, trades can't be made official until the new league starts. League year starts on March 13th. Yep. But this is done. And Ian Rappaport tweeted just now that the Broncos will shop quarterback Case Keenum, who's guaranteed $7 million in 2019. It's either a massive pay cut or a release. Case Keenum to me is the best backup quarterback in the league. Yeah, he said he'd be a top backup. Yeah, I think there's guys like I said this before. Nick Foles, Case Keenum can win playoff games. That Jacoby Brissett. Like there's 3 or 4 guys now in the NFL that I think are really high-end backups. And that doesn't mean Case Keenum cannot win. He went 13-3 with Minnesota. He's not a stiff. I think Flacco's better as an arm talent, but Case Keenum is absolutely worth paying the money. To the Eagles? Not terrible. They're going to need a backup quarterback and a strong one. I think Jacksonville could use 2. There's a lot of places that are going to be calling for Case Keenum because he is a strong backup quarterback, and this is a good thing. I'm glad that the Ravens are going all in on Lamar Jackson. Yeah. It's the worst when you go into a season with a quarterback controversy. All training camp, you're discussing who's going to win the job. Nobody has any confidence in anyone. The alliances get formed. It's just like clear the air, make him your guy, and move forward, and just put all your chips on the table. So finally, Luke Walton's been on the hot seat this season, and the Lakers 117-113 lost to the Hawks last night, only heightened the criticism for him. And now odds have been released on who will be the next Lakers head coach next season.
Okay.
With Jason Kidd as the early favorite.
Yeah,
Mark Jackson is on the list, Frank Vogel, Kevin McHale, Tom Thibodeau. Luke Walton is still there, Phil Jackson, and LeVar Ball actually has some very long odds.
Yeah,
which is fun.
That's I'm not going there.
You don't feel like that's a good
that's
good
Cleveland
investment?
Browns winning the Super Bowl. I'm not going there.
I feel like Ty Lue should be someone that's considered.
By the way, my sources tell me that Ty Lue and LeBron are not as close as everybody thinks.
Okay.
Okay, so my sources tell me that back to Cleveland, Ty Lue wouldn't have necessarily been the coach. Do you think it's strange that Ty Lue's not on that list? So when everybody defends LeBron and said he's not tough on coaches, I'm like, well, he didn't, not the easiest guy in coaching.